Hello and welcome to your weekly recharge of all the latest electric car news brought to you by the team at electrifying.com. On the podcast this week, we're going to be talking about cars that bong and how the Black Friday bargains seem to have come early. We'll also be dipping into the postbag to find out what you've had to say and answering all your car buying questions. Welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour. I'm Ginny.
And I'm Tom.
How are you, Tom? It feels like an age since we've been on the podcast together.
I know, it is an age, isn't it? Well, I did one with Mike last week. The boys got a chance, but no, we haven't been doing one for ages, have we?
We've not. So there's been a lot happening this week, isn't it? Every month that seems to go by this year, we're like, oh gosh, it's going to be quiet. It's got to be quieter, and it's just not. The rate at which new cars and launches are coming is quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, and some really interesting cars as well. There are lots from China, obviously, but the Europeans are fighting back too. So I have faith.
They are. So should we kick off with some of the new things that we've seen this week? Because it's been the week of deals, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah, there's a few sort of news stories where you kind of go, "Oh, that's cheap."
Yeah,
or quite
absolutely.
affordable at least. Yeah. So
And
you saw the Twingo.
I did see the Twingo. I went to see the Twingo, and that video is now live on the YouTube channel if you haven't had a good look at it. And I think the funny thing with the Twingo is it's almost identical to the concept car. And isn't it refreshing to have that? Because so often we see these things and then they don't look anything like the concept car, and it's a little bit disappointing. It's very, very close in how it looks. I think there's only two things on it for me. If you remember on the concept, it had this kind of little sort of three almost like cylindrical sort of dials at the top of the bonnet on the concept that sort of were just stood up slightly, and they're a throwback to the details on the original car. And it would have been really nice if it had had some kind of maybe charging indicator or something like that. And instead, it's just got three oblong pieces of plastic, one of which has this quite complicated plastic thing that you hook in to remove it, and then in there is your compartment for filling up the water, the wiper fluid. And the thing for me is, it's this little black plastic kind of like it's like a wheel nut kind of thing that just opens it up. I'll have lost that first day I've got the car, so I hope they give loads of them to you. The only other thing that I didn't love about it were the handles. The handles are almost a bit too big for the cuteness of the car. I'd have loved to have had those circular handles. Yeah, did you?
Yeah. Also, it seems slightly strange because it's a 5-door, and of course the very first original from the 1990s was a 3-door, and the Renault 5 has hidden door handles at the back, doesn't it? So it still looks kind of 3-doorish. So I don't know why they just didn't give it those. I don't know if they're more expensive, or you would have thought that they could have. It would have been much cheaper to use the Renault 5 ones. I don't know.
It is a real shame, and that thought did cross my mind as well. But I mean, they've delivered on a lot of promises. Actually, it does look like the concept. They've said it's going to be under €20,000. They've not confirmed pricing in the UK yet, but certainly in Europe, it's going to start at under €20,000. If you do the conversion on that, it should be about £17,500. They're not confirming it, but I have been told off the record that we should be pleasantly surprised, is all they'll tell me. So I reckon it's going to come in at around 18,000, would be my guess.
Well, that's pretty good, isn't it? It would make it one of the cheapest out there. And right-hand drive, of course, because the original one was only left-hand drive, which was a tragedy in my eyes, because that was a great car for Twingo.
Yeah, I think the thing is inside for me, it's really sweet inside. It's got a lovely interior. If you haven't, go and check out the review either on the website, and hopefully we'll have some pictures of it here. It's got that big cylindrical shaped dashboard, which is really lovely. And one of the things I really like is they've devised their own alphabet for Twingo, their own typeface. So, and that is, and it's repeated around the car. So you've got it like in the headliner, and you've got it in the carpets down in, what do you call them? What do you call those things, Tom? It's a Friday afternoon. The carpets that go down at your feet.
Carpet mats. Yeah.
The carpet mats. The mats. Gosh, God. The mats. And the font is really fun that they've developed for Twingo. And then it's got all the accessories. So you've got all the accessories on the Renault 5. Sadly, no baguette basket. But what it has got is, do you know the U-clip accessories that we get in Datchas?
Hmm.
that clip in the
Lots
car.
of
They've
yeah, so you make it
yeah.
individual, yeah, yeah.
That you can get those now on. You'll be going to be able to get those on the Twingo. So there's little accessories that you can clip into the boot and various places around the car, and they've got things like little shopping bags that you can clip on, or ties to keep your charging cable nice and tidy.
Mm,
It's just a really nicely thought out thing, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how well it sells because the range is modest.
mm,
It's got tiny little LFP battery in it, not a lot of range, but for me, I think it's absolutely right for the kind of car that it is.
mm. And presumably there's gonna be a Nissan version. Is there gonna be a Nissan
Oh
Pixel?
God, oh God, let's not get Nicola on that.
I wonder how different they can make it, because it does look very Twingo-y, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But I suppose the Renault 5 looks like a Renault 5, and they've kind of managed to disguise it a bit to make it a micro, haven't they?
they
But,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, Nissan's going to slap a Nissan badge on it.
Now, talking of Renaults,
um,
my neighbour, my next door neighbour, has got. She had some problems with it. She got a Renault 5, had some problems with it, so rejected it, and then for a while thought she was just going to keep her Zoe, but has now gone out and bought another Renault 5, and she's got a Roland-Garros special edition, which I didn't really know existed, but you'd be very jealous of
ooh,
it, Jenny. It's
is
lovely. It's
is
got all sorts of
it?
special bits on it, including, the gear selector that is meant to look
Yeah,
like a Chanel lipstick. It's
yeah.
wrapped around to look like a tennis racket. It's very cool.
Oh, so nice,
Mm,
so nice. Yeah, that spec is gonna be available on the Twingo as well, that Roland-Garros.
mm, mm,
So once you go, oh yeah, so that will be the very top spec on the most expensive version, and it's the very, very top spec, isn't it, on the
mm,
R5? Is it available on
mm.
the R4 as well? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't know. It's got satin paint as well, which is quite makes it just look a little bit different.
Ooh.
Um,
Ooh, did it make you want one?
it does make me want one, but she's got a Zoe which has a battery lease, and it's a 68 plate, so
Mm,
not that old, 31,000 miles. Nobody wants it. The Renault dealer didn't want it back because of the battery lease. So it's
yeah.
interesting that was a big mistake, a big sort of blind alley, wasn't it, doing that battery leasing?
Yeah, there weren't many, when you look at those early days of electric, there weren't many things that you look back and you think, oh, that really didn't work. But that really didn't work, did it?
Mm, I
It just
think,
confused people so much, that whole
yeah.
concept.
And still does, and I think it keeps down Renault Zoe prices because people aren't quite sure if they're getting a battery lease or not, and they have to do all sorts of
Mm,
questions. You have to explain it to people. They just don't understand why there are some which are, 1,500 quid, another one which is £3,500, and they appear to be the same age and mileage. So,
mm,
yeah, I think it holds back. I spoke to a couple of dealers wanting to know if they wanted to buy it, and they're like, "Oh, battery lease, no, thank you." So,
yeah.
yeah, they won't make
Um,
that mistake again, will they?
I won't. So it
Mm.
wouldn't be a week in electrifying life if we didn't have the launch of a new Chinese electric SUV, would it, Tom?
Yeah, it gets confusing, doesn't it? I mean, I need to have a little list of them and keep learning them and how to pronounce them as well.
I know. Well, we have the definitive on this because for a long time we were unsure if this company is a Geely or a Geely.
Mhm.
And even people within the company were slightly unsure as well because we heard
Mm.
it pronounced different ways, but it is indeed Geely. So the Geely EX5 has dropped this week. We have been to see it. Um, Depending on when you're watching this, there may be a first look video on here on the YouTube channel, or it will be about to arrive if you're watching this before Sunday. And we have a full review over at electrifying.com. So yeah, Geely EX5, it's sort of a rival to Chinese cars like the JQ E5, the MG S5, cars like the Citroën EC5, Skoda Elrock, our car of the year, the Kia EV3. So it is, as I said, another sort of Chinese SUV. And I think that you are going to, I strongly suspect, get used to seeing this brand on the roads because the pricing is really strong on it. They've come out the blocks hard, haven't they?
I have. I watched your video and thought, well, first of all, thought that's cheap, and
Mm.
also lots of bings and bongs, of course.
Oh
The
yeah.
one thing I looked at the screen and thought, is that the same as the Volvo EX30s? I know they say that it's completely different to the Volvo EX30 underneath, completely different chassis, but I think that all the sat nav and stuff might be the same.
Well,
Mm.
it may share some back end technology,
Mm.
but certainly on
Mm.
the screen it's different.
Yeah.
Uh, in
If you're a
just
Volvo EX30 owner, please watch the video and let us know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was told that everything on it is not. There isn't a crossover, but you never know with those things, do you?
Mm.
Should I just run through the pricing because I think it's really
Mm.
worth talking about.
Mm.
There's the entry level car starts at £31,990, and the top spec, which as you're so used to Chinese cars being incredibly well spec'd, and these are really well spec'd. I mean, even the entry level has got adaptive cruise control on it, for example. So anyway, the top set max, that's 36,990. So that already puts it, up there against rivals in the class, makes it very competitive. It undercuts cars like the Peugeot E3008. But Geely has done its own grant. So obviously, Chinese cars are not eligible for the UK government electric car grant, and loads of them have done their own grants. So we've got the Geely grants. The numbers on this are quite extraordinary. So you get £2,300 off the entry level SE, £3,200 off the Pro. That top of the range car, you get 3,750 quid off. And there's more, because if you're trading in from a petrol or a diesel car, they will give you an extra £1,000 part exchange discount on top of the price that they're quoting you for the car. So you get that off. And then, so if you add all that up, that means up to 4,750 quid on the range topper. So that's bringing that car down to, the money that you'd pay for entry level cars on a lot of its
Mm.
rivals. So again, makes it a really good deal. Then they're also throwing in £500 towards an Anderson home charger on those top specs. If you can't charge at home, you get a £500 Electrifying public charging voucher. So
Mm.
it's a very, very strong deal on that. Now, we were looking at the numbers. They've got some really good deals on PCP on their own deals. Leasing, they're not coming out as competitive at the moment, but I think what we'd expect to see with that is it start to level off and start to come down. Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that one goes.
Yeah, I wonder why these companies don't just do what MG did in the end and just say, "Look, we're just going to cut the list price." Because if you think about it, if you're a company car driver, you get taxed on the list price or the
Mm.
P11D value, and so you're going to get taxed on a higher price. Now, okay, with electric cars, it's not that big a value, and it's going to be a few quid a year, but I still don't get it. I mean, people, I suppose, just like the discounts, don't they? Like when you go into
I think
Tesco's
it's
and get the club car price.
I think it's the psychological thing. I really do. And I think
Mm.
it's also, like we say, it's this time of year, it's Black Friday, it's deals. It's, the
Mm.
minute you tell me I'm getting 20% off something, I want it far more than I did yesterday.
Mm. Mm.
It is what we're like. But yeah, but it was,
Mm.
look, my favorite thing in the car was, and they're probably
Mhm.
going to get upset with me about this. It's got a massive junk drawer under the back seat. It's
Oh,
brilliant.
yes, I saw that, yeah.
Oh, I
Now
loved it.
what classic car had that? A little drawer underneath? Had baskets underneath, actually.
Oh, I don't know, Tom. I don't know. Should we let people
Which one?
guess? Put the answers in the
Oh,
comments
yes.
below.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay, we'll
a
tell them on the
very
next week's
very
podcast.
iconic a very iconic British car had baskets underneath the back seat when it was launched. What was
So
it?
it's not quite baskets under the back seat, but it's just a massive
Mm,
drawer, a massive pull-out drawer that you
mm,
could keep your snacks in. You
which
keep
is quite
special things
rare.
in. It's
Quite rare for an
very
electric car
rare.
because normally it's full of batteries, isn't it?
Honestly, I just think
Mm,
it's absolutely genius. Um,
mm,
Now, what I didn't love as much with the Bings and the Bongs.
mm,
So my goodness me, it's got just about every kind of safety kit on it you could come up with. Um, However, as we've seen a lot with Chinese cars, the calibration doesn't quite work for UK roads. And it's quite difficult
mm,
to turn the systems off. So it's keyless entry. You're straight in. It's car starts automatically, put it straight into drive. The problem with that is every time you park it, even if you're just kind of, for a second, everything resets.
Mm.
So every single time you want to go again, you've got to go in through submenus to turn the systems off. If you forget, they are very, very intrusive because they're calibrated for Chinese roads, which are not like ours, which are wider
Mm.
and bigger. So I was told that there will be an over-the-air update coming, which will hopefully should address that, because it really was going on at me. It was like being, driven. It was like having the world's worst driving instructor in the car with me. Literally, keep
Mm.
your eyes on the road. It was telling me off for
Mm.
speeding when I wasn't speeding. So yeah,
It's surprising, isn't it? Because I think that the chassis was tweaked by Lotus engineers, wasn't it? Who know a
it
thing or
was.
two about chassis, but maybe it wasn't switched on when they were testing it in the UK, in
Or
Norfolk or wherever. Because it would have been terrible, presumably.
I mean, if you can turn it all off right at the start. So presumably that's what they did. They would have turned it all off. The problem it becomes when you're doing what we're doing, which is driving and filming, and then you might stop to look at something else on the
Mm.
car. They keep coming back on. So it's
Mm.
to have to go through that rigmarole every time you get in the car of turning them all off. I mean, I don't get me
Mm.
wrong. I think safety systems are brilliant, but they don't need to be intrusive. Loads of cars have them. All cars have them now, and there's so many examples I can think of where they work really well. The Renault systems, for example, they're there. They
Mm.
remind you, but you're not getting a shock every time they come on. I don't feel like I need to turn them off. And what was the other car that we had that was really very intrusive on the safety systems? Was it a Leap?
We've
The
had a
Leap
few.
motor?
Leap Motor
It was.
C10 was
It
pretty
was the Leap.
undrivable, wasn't it? Mm.
It was. So I do think it's mainly to do with calibrating the systems for the different roads that we have in Europe. But yeah, I think it's go check it out, have a look at the video. I think it's a pretty impressive package for the money, actually. So
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. Now, talking of grants and impressive packages,
Oh,
so the Citroën EC5 Aircross Long Range has been announced as the third car to get the full £3,750 government EV grant. Um,
yay! Another one. Finally.
yeah, yeah, but it's only the long range version, so the one with the big battery, because that battery is built in France and therefore is considered more sustainable or has better tracking than the short range version where the battery's built somewhere else.
Right.
Now, the odd thing about that is they haven't actually announced pricing for it, but we can assume that at least the entry level model will be below £37,000 because it has to be to get the grant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you imagine that it's going to be, I don't know, 36,995 or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're taking 3,750 quid off, that's going to be a cheap car and it's going to have a 422 mile range. So you think 422 miles for what, 33
Yeah.
grand? 30, yeah,
It's
that's, ooh,
that. It's very compelling, that isn't it? But
yeah.
then it's that weird thing, isn't it? That you know, we're going to end up in this situation again where like you say, the bigger battery is cheaper
Mm,
than the entry level. I should
yeah.
say it's only the second car, isn't it, that's been eligible? Because isn't the other thing the Ford Tornado? Is that right? Am I?
Yes, it's
Is
a
it?
Tornado, but it's a Tornado with windows, so it's the
Okay,
passenger
okay,
version of the
okay.
Tornado,
Passenger
and
version.
the
Okay,
Puma, of course.
okay.
So yeah, but the Leaf will be, we assume, don't we?
And that battery is going to go into other Stellantis cars, isn't it? So
Mm,
presumably, other Stellantis long range models will then
mm.
eventually get the full grant as well.
Well, you'd imagine so. So Grandland, that's quite competitive,
Yeah.
isn't it? They seem to have done this weird thing with Peugeot, where the E3008 and the 5008 are now considered prestige, and therefore they're like £10,000 more than the Citroen, which I just don't
I,
get really.
I'd love to know what people think of this. Do you consider that Peugeot is a premium brand? Because that's
Well,
like you say, you go
You,
on. But
you've got family in Australia, haven't you? And in Australia, I know
yeah,
Peugeot is thought of as the same. It's like a French luxury brand, and it's considered in the same breath as like Jaguar or BMW. And it's like, what? I was like over there going, yeah, I don't understand. What do you mean it's a prestige brand? It's one of the cheapest in the UK.
it's funny, isn't it, how that works? Because
Mm,
you're right, they are absolutely like moving themselves into that bit of the market. But then also Jeep is as well.
mm.
Jeep considers themselves within that whole Stellantis range as the kind of the car that we're a bit more desirable. But I don't know. I don't know. Interesting.
Mm.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. And as always, please email us podcast@electrifying.com if you've got any car buying questions, if you want to have a comment on what we've been talking about in this week's podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
Mhm.
Okay, so yes, it has been the week of bargains. It's also been the week of $1 trillion bonuses, hasn't it? Or $1 trillion pay packages. Goodness
Mm.
me. Can only be talking
Yeah.
about Elon Musk. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Should we put on our
Yeah.
tin hat before we talk about Elon Musk? I I I suppose capitalism is in the way that if you do well, then you get rewarded for it. But that does seem like quite a lot of reward. I mean, what would you do with $1 trillion?
I don't
I mean,
know.
honestly.
I mean, well, you'd like to think you'd do something incredible with it, wouldn't you? Like,
Mm,
solve world hunger or,
yeah.
provide drinking water for, the 20% of the world's population that don't have access to clean drinking water or whatever. But I don't know what he'll do. He'll probably send some more rockets up, won't he?
Mm,
But he does have to do a lot to get that, doesn't he? Because it's actually not it's a massive bonus. It gets this payout if he hits some huge targets, one of which is selling 20 million cars a year, along with 1 million robots. He has to get 10 million people subscribing to the Tesla autopilot system. They need to make a $400 billion in profits, and Tesla's market value needs to go from $1.4 trillion, which is what it is at the moment, to $8.5 trillion. So it doesn't come without some fairly punchy targets. But you know what? Knowing Musk, he's going to do it, isn't he?
yeah, you probably will. Or there'll be some like get around, like the robots will be 6 inches high or something and won't be proper robots.
So if you haven't got $1 trillion pay packet, those are some of the electric bargains that we've seen this week. Have you got Barnard's bargain for us, Tom?
I have indeed. So a used one, I spotted a 2022 500e red, which is all in capitals. That's the kind of it's an
Yes.
alternative base or middle version of the Fiat 500. It's not actually red; it's metallic grey, but it has like red accents on it.
Oh,
Looks
nice.
quite nice. At 5,300 miles, it's got the bigger 42 kilowatt hour battery, so it's quite usable, and a 97% battery health score. 12,499. Now, the thing about the 500e is that when it's new, it's always the one I use the comparisons for things like your Geely. So it says it's 27 grand. You think, well, that's the price of a mid-range Fiat 500e because they are expensive new, but used.
Mm,
It's a great level of the used car market. So 12 and a half grand.
yeah.
I thought that's quite an affordable, nice thing, isn't it?
That's a really decent price as well. And it wasn't, again, that long ago that we were starting just to talk about, good buys that were coming in under £20,000.
Mm,
And we're
mm,
actually now starting to see, I was looking on the used car listings recently, and it's really impressive, the cars that you're getting now for that sort of 11, 12, 13,000 pound bracket, isn't it? As
yeah.
more and more used cars are starting to filter in, you are starting to see some really strong buys now secondhand. I
Mm.
think I'd be tempted by that. Have you got a lease deal for us?
A leasing one, so it's the same one as last week, just because it's still around, and it's such a good deal. So MG S5 EV, 24-month deal, 8,000 miles a year, put £2,000 down, £227.99 a month. I mean, it's so cheap. Because
Wow.
the next car of that size is kind of 350 quid. So if you want something like a VW ID4, it's another 100 quid at least. It's nuts. Won't last long, I
And
don't
that
think.
and that's where people like brands like Geely are going to have to be keen on their lease prices. They're
Mm,
going to have to really try and get those down because, of course, that's a direct competitor for
mm,
the EX5 that we've just been talking about. But
mm.
all of this influx of new brands, it's great for pricing, isn't it? Great for competition.
Yeah, I mean, Leap Motor, that was the bargain a few weeks ago, wasn't it? And they were super cheap, but they've sold loads, so they'll be out on the road. People
Yep.
will see them, say, "What's that car?" Helps get their
Yep.
brand recognition up, and then they can sell some at proper prices. They'd hope.
Does are those on the deals page over at electrifying.com?
Yep. So they're the MG's on there. I think Leap Motor's now fallen off because the deals aren't quite so good. But yeah, that's where you'll find all the keenest stuff.
Okay. And now we're going to ask a little favour of you, our listeners. If you're watching the Kilowatt Half Hour on YouTube or on your tablet or on your phone, it'd be brilliant if you could head to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcasts. Give us a follow over there too. Maybe even leave a comment. We'd really appreciate it.
And share it as well with your EV curious or converted friends
Oh.
so they can enjoy it as well.
We do. Right, let's move on now to your comments and your questions. As always, we'd love you to leave the comments if you're watching on YouTube, to leave them in the comment section below. Or if you're listening on your streaming service, you can email us podcast@electrifying.com. So, we've had an email in from Niall Porter. Hello, Niall. How are you? Niall says, hello, Ginny. Always watch your reviews. Thank you for that, Niall. I recognise your name, actually, Niall, from the comments. For the BMW iX3, 500 miles is very impressive, but I have an Audi Q4 Sport model. And when you turn on the heater, it goes from 180 miles to 170 miles, even with the heat pump. Will the BMW be the same? No, it won't, will it? Because it's completely different technology in this car. So this is one of the clever things that BMW has done with this is the battery technology is completely different. So it's got this cylindrical battery cell technology. The easiest way to describe it is imagine lots of little Duracell batteries, all cylindrical and all in together. And that's what they're doing with it, which means that it's less expensive to make. So this is why the iX3 is, I think it's around £5,000 cheaper than the outgoing model. But they're also promising that it's going to be very efficient too. We'll be driving that car soon. We'll, of course, report back on efficiency. But also, Tom, in our experience, that some of those Audis have not been the most efficient, have they? They're using a different kind of battery technology to this. And we've definitely, it's the thing we'll talk about within the team quite a lot. Do you remember the early e-trons? They were not efficient at all, were they?
No, especially in the cold. And there are, of course, tricks you can do to sort of mitigate the having to use the heater, like preconditioning, using heated seats and heated steering wheel instead of heating the whole car when it's just you in it, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing as well is to talk about the heat pump, and it's something we're going to be looking at a lot more over the coming months as we head into winter. Heat pumps are great if you're a certain kind of driver. So if you're doing lots of long distances, if you charge up a lot, then, a heat pump in certain times of the year will work for you. Heat pumps for a lot of people, they're not necessary. You're better off, like Tom just said, preconditioning your car, getting your car nice and toasty, when you get in it in the morning, using your heated seats. So I think we were probably guilty of this, in the earlier days of EVs as well. We all thought heat pumps are the great thing to have. It really depends on how you use your electric car, doesn't it?
Because it takes a lot of heat from the motors and from charging and things to heat the cabin, as well from right. The next one
So
from the comments.
yes, go on. So sorry. So yes, Niall, keep watching the video. Our first drive of that will be coming over the next month or so, and we will pay particular attention to the efficiency. Okay.
Yeah, Fred Blogs from the comment, possibly not his real name, but who knows? Fred Blogs
He's
72. Well, we've been waiting for an affordable, small, all-wheel drive battery electric vehicle with similar off-road abilities to our present Suzukis. No mud pluggers, but not afraid of kart tracks and wet meadows. The smart #1 Barabbas almost meets the challenge, but it's not really set up for off-road. We can say that again. I'm not sure the ground clearance would do. The EX30 we wrote off as the worst car we've ever driven in decades. Poor build quality, software faults, and everything on a stupid center screen.
Yeah.
This left us waiting for the Suzuki e-Vitara. We drove the Ultra all-wheel drive, okay handling, but surprisingly noisy. My question would be, what other small and cheap EVs with a bit of off-road ability are available or coming on the market?
Well, okay. I mean, it's not going to be cheap, but the Recon, I think, is going to be the most capable off-roader, or certainly electric off-roader when it comes, and that's probably why we've been hearing it's been coming next month for quite a long time. So that's the Jeep Recon, which is effectively the electric reincarnation of what the Jeep Wrangler was. And of course, famously, every Jeep Wrangler has to be able to do the Rubicon Trail, which is the tough off-road course in it's California, isn't it? And they are saying that this will be the car that will be able to do all of that, but it isn't going to be cheap.
Mm.
Slate, the Slate, would that, if that ever comes to the UK,
Yeah, that
I don't know.
that would be great if it was. It's probably two-wheel drive, but it'll be quite rugged, won't it? I mean, two-wheel
Mm,
drive in these sort of situations, especially if it's kart track, then two-wheel drive's fine. You just want the ground clearance, don't you? And something like a Jeep Avenger would be fine in that
yeah.
situation. A Jeep Avenger with the right tyres would be quite good on a wet meadow as well, I think. Um, if you do need proper four-wheel drive, I mean, Toyota BZ4X is really good off-road. And there are some deals on them, so it might be a bit more affordable than you think. And the Subaru Solterra, of course, which is basically the same car.
Yeah, and I would suggest that the deals on the Toyota are going to get even better because there's a new version of that which will be
Mm,
driving over the next few weeks, actually. So, as
mm.
always, they'll be keen to shift the outgoing model. So, you might snap up some bargains on that.
And talking of Toyotas, there is the Suzuki e-Vitara is the same basic car as the Toyota Urban Cruiser, isn't it? So maybe it's got a slightly different setup to the Suzuki, and it might be a little bit quieter for you. It's worth a try, I think.
Mhm. Let's move on. Now, we had Dan Bracken Neal again sent us an email, which is podcast@electrifying.com. Hello. The mobility scheme update their prices 4 times a year: 1st of Jan, 1st of April, 1st of July, 1st of October. The moment the advance payments seem very high. As someone who doesn't have off-street parking and can't have a home charger, even the new type spoken about in episode 90, I need a car with a high range so I don't have to charge too often. I'm due to get a new car next July, so I hope the prices come down for advance payment. What are your
Mm.
thoughts on that, Tom?
Well, what was really interesting about this was that Dan also sent me the link to the Motability offers, which I haven't seen for a while. So it's like, oh, who's doing what? And
Hmm.
the way Motability works is you do an advance payment. Well, you can have cars that have zero advance payment, which is obviously there to incentivize people, or you can put a bit of extra money towards the finance, and there you can have a slightly better car. And of course, the manufacturers use this as a way to incentivize cars which are either slow selling or they want to
Yeah.
promote in some way. So the ones that have zero advance payment and are therefore the ones that everybody's going to want, or they hope everybody's going to want: Ford Puma, Jenny, of course, because it's got the
Mm.
grant. Dacia
Mhm.
Spring, would you have a Dacia Spring or a Puma? I mean, it's just,
Oh, yeah.
why would you? Yeah. Citroën C3 and C3 Aircross, Kia
Yeah.
Niro.
Oh, that's a good
Um,
one.
Yeah, Elite Motor, which the
Mm.
small T03, and the Vauxhall Frontera, which is going to be really competitive as well. Now, none of those, I'm afraid, Dan, have a particularly long range. If you're thinking, I don't know, 300 miles, so then you have to go up to another car with an advance payment, and there weren't many deals about.
Okay.
So, for example, a Renault 5, the advance payment on a Renault 5 is £4,295. So that's
Wow.
no deal at all. Uh,
That's really chunky.
so,
I wouldn't it be good if there's the C5 we've just been talking about, the Citroën
mm,
EC5 that now qualifies for the big discount, the big government grant. I wonder if
mm,
that is going to make its way onto the scheme.
because that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
would, with the range, with
422
the whole
miles.
thing. Might even,
Yeah, and a
I'd
big car.
I'd be thinking about holding out for that personally.
Mm, and see what comes out. But I did look at the deals and didn't think there was anything particularly special apart from those. I mean, a Puma just would be a great car, but I don't think it's going to have the
It's-
range you need. So I would wait and see what comes out. They
Okay.
always do. The deals always arrive, don't they?
They do, they do, they do. Absolutely. Okay, what else have we got, Tom? We've got some bloody
Sloop John B.
tyres. Interesting. Yes. Okay.
It's Sloop John B, which is a great name. So there's an episode about tyres would be interesting. So perhaps you could do a segment on tyres and vehicles that are sustainably better on smaller tyres. Now, this is a bit of a thing of mine, so I'm very pleased that Sloop John B said this. I must admit, I bought my Kia EV6 and started watching YouTube videos, and I didn't know about it before. I had no idea that bigger tyres are seemingly ridiculous from a comfort and efficiency perspective. I can't believe anyone would sacrifice these for looks. So I never even considered it. I always presumed bigger tyres were better.
Well, you kind of would,
Now,
wouldn't you? It's not a silly
yeah,
thing to assume.
No, and big tyres are better for grip because they've, if they're actually
Mhm.
physically bigger, then they grip more. That's kind of, what you'd expect. But if you have low profile tyres, they have less squidgy sidewall and they're not as good on potholes and bumps, but you do feel more in the steering. So there are trade offs. There are reasons why big wheels, other than styling, are used, and why car manufacturers, especially ones who want a sporty feel, will use them. But I'm too old. I like squidgy tires. I will sacrifice the blingness to have the better ride. And also on electric cars, do you remember on a Audi e-tron? I think we looked at it, and the difference between the smallest tire and the biggest tire was like 35 miles on the range.
It
So
was a
can you
lot of
imagine?
range, wasn't it?
Can you
Yeah.
imagine thinking, "Am I going to get home? No, I'm going to have to stop, but
And
at least
change
my
my
wheels are
tyres.
tight."
Get my small
No, but
tyres out for the longer journey.
you're on a long journey and think, yes, yeah, change the tires for your journey just so you get like, you go
The
to
one
Leeds and back or something. Oh, yeah, ridiculous.
It's interesting because I talked about this in the Twingo video, because the
Mm,
Twingo has got 18 inches, which are big for a little car like that. They look
mm,
gorgeous, though. They completely fill the wheel arches. And because it's such a little cute thing, and you've got, the wheels pushed right out to the edges of the platform, visually it looks great. And I did say in that video, you can spec 16s, but you just wouldn't on that car.
mm.
You would just, I think even you, Tom, would take the trade-offs on the Twingo because the
Mm,
18s just look so nice. No?
I'm not sure.
No?
I, I,
You're not
I don't know. I
sure?
mean, I look back to the days of that the 205, the Peugeot 205 GTI, the 1.9 version had 15-inch wheels, and everyone went ooh. And now there's 18 on a Twingo. It's
I know.
I mean, you get
I know.
18s on a Toyota Igo. It's crazy.
Oh dear. Let's
Mm.
start to wrap things up with a comment from Stan at Kangaroo
It's
Island
Stan, yeah, Kangaroo
TV.
Island. Yes, yeah.
Our good friend
Well,
Stan, who lives in Australia at Kangaroo Island. One day we'll go and see
mm,
you, Stan.
mm. Well,
So we,
he said, he says, I think there should be a swear jar for every time Tom mentions Tesla, in the same way that you have when you mention the Skoda word. And
what,
I'm
the
surprised
ENIAC?
now. I'm surprised now. I don't think I was. I think last week I was saying the Model Y was quite a good car, and how no, I don't. I wouldn't say that disappoints me. I was just surprised that it was such a good car because we've been, I suppose, trained to think everything Tesla does is bad. But no, I didn't think I was going on about it too much. I certainly wouldn't say I'm a Tesla fanboy.
But Stan, we will keep an eye on it. Absolutely.
Mm,
And, if I've
mm.
got an ENIAC square jar, then I think it's only fair that another member of the team has one. It's interesting because the video for that has just gone live, hasn't it?
Mm,
And yeah, I think, to be fair, we've got to say Teslas are good cars.
mm,
Yes, we may not always agree or like the politics, but we've had this conversation on the program, on the program, on the podcast, and on videos and all kinds of things. But you can't deny the charging network is fantastic. The cars themselves are good to drive. Yes, they're very they look the samey, and the exterior isn't changed that much dramatically that often, but they do what they need to do really well. I mean, I
mm,
could certainly live with a Tesla every day. I really could. And then we've had models on the team that have done hundreds of thousands of miles. We had that one that had done 500,000 miles. So
mm.
they do what they need to do. So yeah, I think we do have to give credit where credit's due.
So maybe Elon will get his $1 trillion. He
You're
carries on
not going
like
to
that.
bet against him getting his $1 trillion bonus, are you? You're absolutely
Mm.
not. And on that note, let's go off and say enjoy our weekends and say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Kilowatt Half Hour. Please do drop your comments in the comment section below or email us podcast@electrifying.com. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.